かけるは苦しい。大事あるのか。投げている。さあ決着の時が近いか。カットセップ入れる。最強の15歳を下していぶし銀かけるな。
New game, new characters, and Street Fighter 6 came out with a couple of new characters. And out of all of them, there really has been one character that has caused controversy, not been liked, and is fundamentally broken. The one and only new zoner introduced, JP. And JP has been through highs and lows, by all accounts is a very successful character, and I do not like him. A lot of the time, character discourse is centered around their viability. How good they are, can they win, are they winning? And for a game balanced and designed for competition, that makes sense. But sometimes a character can be weak, but still well designed. Or a character can be strong and terribly designed. And in the case of today's character, it doesn't matter if he's good or bad, he is fundamentally broken, and should not be in the game. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad, but then sometimes he's good again. But this is a character that I've already talked about, each time more in depth, so let's start over and run this one more time. The Scourge of Street Fighter 6, JP. This time, I'm going over everything, and we have to start with his strengths, because this character is really dumb. He has very strong buttons. I'm mostly talking about 4 specific ones: stand heavy punch, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, and his god button, crouching medium punch. Stand heavy punch is massive. It's cancelable and very good for not only stopping your opponent's advance, but also for whiff punishing. Standing medium punch is longer, but it doesn't cancel. Crouching medium kick may not be cancelable, but it's still very good. Long range, juts him forward, and just another move to discourage you from going in on him. But the best move he has in his arsenal is this, his god button, crouch medium punch. Fast, disjointed, and very little whiff recovery. The only thing is it's not plus on block, but it can do everything else. Good button to just throw out, they're not going to whiff punish you, and you can cancel out of it. Really, really good for checking drive rushes. The only thing that it's missing is that it's not plus. These moves are good, but they aren't the best at generating advantage. He doesn't have good walk speed, so he's better off on the defensive. Strong defensive normals. And now the rest of his buttons that are worth mentioning. Stand heavy kick is a pressure tool, plus 2 on block, but it has been nerfed to keep him out of throw range. Crouch heavy punch is a very good anti-air, except when it was nerfed to not work and the character was bad, but it was reverted so it's still hard to jump at him. And stand medium kick is a bit longer than crouching medium punch and is also cancelable. He also has an unassuming drive rush. This may be slow, but can be quite effective. Disjoints make it really annoying. But that's enough about his normals. These seem reasonable enough, maybe the god button is too good, so let's talk about his special moves instead. Portal. Disgusting. Get a knockdown or feel ballsy neutral and set up a portal. Makes it so that your opponent basically can't do anything. You can detonate it, you can go through it, but the advantages you get full screen will be expounded upon later. But portal in the corner is gross. If you get OD portal set up in the corner, JP has the best set play in the entire game. Block high, giant combo because he did a low. Block low, massive combo because he did an overhead. Decide it's not worth it and just hold parry to take the throw. Combo off of throw. Practical fuzzy setups, genuine unreactable high-low mix. Gives him exceptional damage. And even if it's just a normal portal, his offense gets scarier. His portals are very, very good. Drive rush at him if he tries to set them up. And you cannot forget about the move that made JP infamous, his amnesia. Absorbs a strike and walks back, with a mine on his opponent. Unlike Bison Bomb and Poison, if JP gets hit, the mine remains, because why wouldn't it? But that's all well and good, he walks back so it's not like he can get all that much off of it. The real crux of the move comes when he spends drive gauge on it and does OD Amnesia. Back on launch, OD Amnesia was the best reversal of the game, and now, after it got nerfed, it still may be the best reversal in the game. Not the best when not in the corner, but when in the corner, where you would want to reversal the most, JP stays where he is and gets 2 mines. If they press the bigger button, or if they dare to throw him, JP takes the corner for himself. So if he does this, and has another 2 bars to spend, he gets the corner, followed up with the literal best mix in the game. all because you got him to the corner and decided to throw him. Cool. Combine that with his obnoxious neutral, and he's the one getting rewarded for you getting past the gauntlet of his moves. It almost seems unfair. Because it is. If you use faster buttons, the mines still come out and gives him another favorable guess. Even though he's still on defense, but at least he can't do 50 to 60% off of it anymore. And his lack of a cancelable crouch medium kick does temper his defense. But the fact remains that one right guess on defense gives JP the best offense in the game. But the fact that his best special moves need him to spend 2 bars make him dependent on meter. If he doesn't have drive gauge, he's not really threatening. Even if he puts you in the corner, if he can't set up the double portals, it's not that big of a deal. For all the things that make him unreasonable, he needs meter to make it happen. I skipped a couple of special moves, but don't worry, I'll come back to them in another segment. For now, let's move on to his supers, because I haven't even talked about maybe the dumbest part of his kit. His level 2 is really dumb. For whatever reason, Capcom thought they needed to compensate this dumb character after they took away some of his tools. So now he's a level 2 character. Activate off of an OD Fireball, basically after any blocked hit, and put your opponent into some unblockable nonsense. The activate makes him plus enough to do whatever he wants, while 4 projectiles bombard his opponent, projectiles that hit high and low. So you have to properly block the projectiles, while the JP is pressing whatever he wants to try to mess you up. So why don't you just parry? If you didn't start with a parry, the JP can keep the sequence tight enough where you won't get a chance to. Same with drive reversal. And even if you do get a parry off, he can throw you out of it and still get an extension. Sure, there are no true unblockables in this game, there are measures taken to prevent it, but this is an unblockable in everything but name. Free hit, free corner carry, and if they mess up early, a decent chunk of damage as well. Also, side switch into portal. For 2 bars on block, he can basically do and get whatever he wants. Despite all the strengths he had earlier, JP is also a level 2 character. Go figure. Those are the main strengths of the character, along with the fact that he hits really hard, but he still hasn't gotten to Tekken 7 and Leroy or Brawl Meta Knight. So what are his weaknesses? What are the aspects of him that hold him back? We need to start with his zoning. JP has multiple tools that he can use to interact with his opponent from a distance. His shadows that can go high and low, forces them to block properly in burnout, and forces them to sit still and parry. Not only that, but he can feint them. A bit of trickery there. As well as his stalagmites. 3 separate spots he can place them, gives him an edge in Fireball Wars. And his zoning isn't good. That's not true. When full screen, he has the best zoning in the game, but his mid-screen traditional zoning is not good. The character that seemed to be created as a zoner does not have good traditional zoning. His stalagmites are very perfect parryable, and if you're anywhere near him, you can punish. And more importantly, his shadows have a weird property. They aren't like normal fireballs, they are weak to drive rush. His pierce loses to a universal hand check, and his normal fireball, something that would normally be a way to stop gumptious drive rushers, actually loses to it. But you still see JP players attempt to zone, so why is that? Most zoners are using their long range option to force their opponents to take a risk, to make them uncomfortable. JP doesn't want that at all. His strength is dependent on having the drive gauge necessary to perform his stupid options. He's very drive reliant. So his zoning is not to force your opponent to do something, but to keep them still. Keep them out and keep his drive gauge in the green. He's the one taking risks in order to make sure he has the resources to absolutely rob you. But that's all fine because he still has a 3rd zoning tool. If he has a portal set up, he has the best zoning in the game. Stalactites don't have either of the weaknesses that his other 2 options have. JP has control over when he wants them to detonate. If he has a portal set up, his opponent just kind of has to sit there. And all the while, he has the option to teleport in through it. Universally, your zoning is better if you already have the initiative. Try engaging in a fireball war when theirs is already in your face. It's an uphill battle. His zoning is normally poor, but if he gets a knockdown, sets up a portal, now you have to sit there and respect him. And that leads back to another strength of his. When he gets a hit, he can choose between getting Oki or getting screen control. And when he does pick screen control, he still gets more advantage than normal because he can set up a portal. It doesn't matter that his zoning strength is exclusive to full screen because he can get it off of essentially any hit. And not only that, JP's zoning does not conform to the normal risk-reward structure that everyone else's does. Normally, the further away from your opponent you are, the lower the risk of your zoning. They can't really do anything if you throw a fireball from full screen, but at the same time, the reward is also lower. A fireball from full screen isn't going to give you anything, they're just going to parry it. And so the closer they get, the riskier the fireball, the greater the likelihood that they punish you, but also the greater the reward. You can actually get setups off of them blocking, and it's much more likely that they get counter hit. Simple risk-reward structure. Less of both here, more of both here. But for JP, he gets the most reward in the same place where he has the least risk. JP wants to be full screen, because anywhere else, his zoning can be challenged and he can get punished. And not only that, up close he has his big buttons, which are just better. When he's at full screen, he can keep you at full screen and reapply portals over and over again. Best full screen zoning in the game. So he's strong from here, and he's strong from here. You can't be too far away, because if you are, he just gets to set up portals and OD portals for free. And you really don't want that. You need to force him to earn his portals. So how do you beat him? What is the counterplay? Because his zoning is weak, he does have a dead zone. Play just outside of his button range, and not only are you in range to drive rush his portal, but because of his slow walk speed, he can't really do too much. You force him to zone, which is a net positive for you. Play around here and pressure his drive gauge. Except he has counterplay for this too. He can just press crouch medium punch, because this move is not whiff punishable. Nice. Thanks. Hate this guy. JP is a character that by virtue of his tools and flowchart, almost never gets to play at a point where his design puts him at a disadvantage, purely due to the nature of his defensive capabilities leading into his advantage state so effectively, bypassing his neutral. He gets the hit, he's favorable. His opponent gets the hit, he's still favorable. His hits in neutral give him full screen control and mix, which should be fine because his neutral is weak and he should be rewarded. But the issue is when he gets this zoning and corner pressure at will with his level 2, and whenever he pulls off a successful amnesia. The level 2 is fine, it's a level 2, they're meant to be powerful. But he also gets it off of his 2-bar reversal. His defense is just too punishing considering this should be a reward for getting past him. He can get where he wants to be by getting a hit himself, or by getting hit by his opponent. His weaknesses pigeonhole him into playing in a very restricted way for most of the neutral, but his strengths more than make up for it. Outside of the initial hit, JP's opponents need to guess more than him at all stages of the game because of his damage and his set play. It should be hard for him to get to his offense, but he gets it off of resources, and off of his opponents beating him. That's what makes him fundamentally broken. He gets the best mix in the game off of getting sent to the corner by his opponent. JP represents a shift in the design philosophy of zoners. The implementation of parry means that zoning for chip isn't really a thing anymore. You can't just sit there and throw fireballs for the entire game. If they just sit there and parry, zoning doesn't generate you advantage. So now zoners need something else in order to take advantage of zoning. To have an option to get advantage if their opponents refuse to do anything. And JP, the sole new zoner introduced, is the perfect example of it. His zoning by itself is weak, but he can use it to not only get back drive, but even steal a turn. OD Portal is very strong. And the rest of the Fireball zoners follow this as well. Guile gets Blade, Aki has OD Bubble, Ed has Charged Flicker, and the much more egregious extension of this is how OD Fan works for Mai. You're still zoning to force your opponent to take a risk, but now the punishment for not engaging isn't having your life slowly chipped away, it's giving your opponent free turns. Just another consequence of the game being built on a base of parry. Alright, let's say you buy what I've been saying, how do we fix this guy? Big way is to just remove the side switch on his OD Amnesia. There is precedent for this already, Cammy lost her side switch on her reversal, and it would mean he actually gets punished for being put into the corner. It already lost its damage, but I don't really care, he doesn't need this. But that is a very extreme move that I don't think will happen. I hope it will, but it's unlikely, so let me give another suggestion. Make Crouch Medium Punch not cancelable. He already has a cancelable stand medium kick, and I don't think a character whose weakness should be Drive Rush should have one of the best Drive Rush checks in the game. Just do something. He's not healthy. Hate this guy. Thank you guys so much for 10k, and thank y'all for a million views. Hope y'all can stick around.